You close your eyes at 11 p.m. You expect the dark to feel like nothing. Instead, it feels like something is listening. Your heart rate ticks up. Your ears sharpen. Some part of you, the part that isn't asleep yet, starts scanning the room for shapes that shouldn't be there. You tell yourself it's silly. You turn over. You wait for sleep to arrive. But here's the strange part. For the vast majority of human history, this exact feeling wasn't silly at all. It was the most useful thing your body could possibly do. So what did ancient humans actually do when they couldn't sleep? The honest answer is stranger than you'd expect, and it starts with a discovery about a completely different animal. In the 1960s, sleep researchers began studying wild baboons in the savannah. What they found was unexpected. Baboons didn't sleep the way you might imagine. They didn't collapse into one long, unbroken block of unconsciousness. Instead, they slept in short bursts, waking again and again throughout the night, often for no obvious reason at all. At first, this looked like bad sleep. Broken, inefficient, exhausting. But researchers studying primate behavior in the wild started to notice something else. The baboons who woke up more often were often the ones who survived longer. Waking wasn't a malfunction. It was a job. Every time a baboon stirred in the dark, it would lift its head, listen, scan the tree line, and settle back down. A predator moving through grass makes a sound. A branch snapping under weight makes a sound. An animal that never wakes up to check is an animal that eventually doesn't wake up at all. Your ancestors lived with the same arithmetic. For roughly 2 million years, humans slept on the ground in caves or huddled in small groups with nothing but firelight and each other's bodies for protection. There was no locked door, no security system, no four walls between a human and whatever was moving outside in the darkness. Sleep researcher Carol Worthman, an anthropologist who has spent decades studying sleep across different cultures, found something that overturned a common assumption. Modern humans in traditional, non-industrial societies, from hunter-gatherer groups to small farming communities, don't sleep in one solid block either. They sleep in fragments. They wake in the night, sometimes for minutes, sometimes to talk quietly by the fire, and then drift back down. The unbroken 8-hour block of sleep you've been told you need? It's not the ancient default. It might not even be natural. Historian Roger E. Kirch uncovered something else entirely buried in old court records, diaries, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. Before electric light existed, many people didn't sleep through the night at all. They slept in two distinct segments. A first sleep, beginning shortly after dark, then a period of wakefulness in the middle of the night, sometimes lasting an hour or more, then a second sleep carrying them through until dawn. During that middle waking period, people didn't panic. They didn't reach for a phone because there was nothing to reach for. They prayed. They talked. They had quiet conversations with a spouse in the dark. Some visited neighbors. Some simply lay still and thought. This wasn't insomnia. It was scheduled, expected, woven into the rhythm of an ordinary night. So why does that feeling of alertness in the dark still show up in you? Thousands of years after fire became furniture and predators became a distant memory? Because your nervous system doesn't know the difference between then and now. It runs on the same ancient hardware your ancestors had. Neuroscientists studying the amygdala, the almond-shaped structure deep in your brain responsible for detecting threats, have found that it becomes more reactive in low light. Your eyes gather less information after dark. Your brain compensates by treating ambiguous sounds and shapes as more dangerous, not less. A creak in an empty house. A shadow near the closet. A sound outside the window. Your body doesn't calmly conclude these are probably nothing. It quietly prepares for the possibility that they are something. This is why lying awake at 2 a.m. can feel disproportionately heavy. Not because anything is actually wrong, because your ancient alarm system, the same one that kept a human alive on an open savanna, is still doing its job in a bedroom with a locked door and a working smoke detector. Here's the twist: most people never learn. That middle of the night wakefulness isn't a sign your sleep is broken. For most of human history, it was simply what a normal night looked like. 2 sleeps, a quiet gap between them, and a fully rested morning on the other side. The idea of one continuous 8-hour block only became the expectation after industrialization, after gaslighting, and then electric light extended the useful hours of the evening and compressed sleep into a single scheduled shift, timed around work. Kirch's research suggests the modern anxiety around waking at night, the reaching for a phone, the racing thoughts about tomorrow's schedule, may be a relatively recent invention, not the waking itself. The panic about the waking. Your ancestors woke in the dark and simply waited. They didn't call it a problem. They called it the middle of the night. Which brings you back to your bed right now tonight. When you wake in the darkness and feel that flicker of alertness, that quiet sense that something might be out there, you're not malfunctioning. You're running a very old, very effective survival program in a world that no longer requires it as urgently as it once did. The baboons in the trees, the humans by the fire, the version of you lying awake tonight. All 3 are doing the same ancient thing. Listening to the dark just in case, so tonight, when you close your eyes and the room goes quiet and some small part of you starts listening for shapes that shouldn't be there, remember what's actually happening. It doesn't feel like nothing. It never did. And for almost all of human history, that was exactly the point.